Why is there a sell-by date on sour cream? Here's some wrestling news. A top WWE superstar is hurt by recent releases. A WWE announcer has been quietly furloughed, and why we will never see Ric Flair in AEW. We'll get to that in a little bit. Through the diagonals we go. They don't want none. They don't want none. They are not happy with any. They are partial to nada. They don't like it up 'em. The words of AJ Styles' theme music. AJ Styles was Corey Graves' guest on After the Bell this week. Whole lot of stuff talked about by AJ and Corey. In particular, AJ's move to SmackDown. He's very delighted with heading SmackDown way. To quote AJ, "I needed a change. Losing Gallows and Anderson really hurt me. Getting away from Raw helps me get over it. I don't know if I'll get over it, but it helps change the atmosphere around me and do something different. My whole time on Raw was basically with them. To get away from that and get to SmackDown, where I've had a lot of success, is a pretty good thing." Yeah, I can imagine when you've been working with, it's like any job, when you work with your mates for so long and then all of a sudden your mates get furloughed after being buried alive by an undead biker. Yeah, it always does sting. AJ did have a lot of success on SmackDown as well as a single star. Of course, he was the centerpiece for SmackDown for the longest of times, and it'd be good to see him doing some great stuff over there. Personally, the timing's amazing because I think that there is something exciting about the prospect of AJ Styles versus Matt Riddle on SmackDown. If Riddle is set to debut imminently for Friday nights, give me Riddle and Styles, you cowards. As a big fan of quality commentary, this one hits a little different for me. Nigel McGuinness has been conspicuous by his absence on WWE TV since April. No word from him on sort of what's been happening. We always assumed that there was lineup changes as a result of the pandemic, but Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter has confirmed the news that fans of Nigel were all fearing. The reason Nigel McGuinness hasn't been around is that he was one of the people furloughed during all the cuts. It's ironic since he was the best analyst of all of them, although Samoa Joe's delivery is superior. That's very kind of you, Dave. Yeah, so McGuinness hasn't been on since April. This kind of explains it, I think. I just assumed he was sitting at home, maybe in the UK, couldn't get back in, but being furloughed really sucks. Genuinely one of my favourite commentators in the entire stratosphere. Just a guy that absolutely nails it. When he and Mauro Ranallo are on form, they are stunning. And he's one of those guys that divides opinion. I think because there is a level of passion and a style about him that is so very different. Somebody told me, and it's a brilliant phrase that I carry with me all the time, which is, it's better to be somebody's shot of whiskey than everybody's cup of tea. And Nigel McGuinness most certainly was my shot of whiskey. Some brighter news from the wrestling scene. European wrestling is back today. Get in! Not long after Germany kickstarted the football world with the Bundesliga, they are kickstarting the wrestling world with the return of Dub X Dub. WXW makes its return tonight. They put out a press release all about it, saying the first football promotion to return has been the German Bundesliga. It still comes as a surprise that the first non-major wrestling promotion to return is from Germany as well. Westside Extreme Wrestling, been around since 2000, has announced a brand new show called WXW Shotgun 2020. 10 episodes of Dub X Dub Shotgun have been produced. They are episodic television. This is still from the press release, featuring storytelling in the form of matches and backstage segments. There will be a German version and an English version available tonight from 8 p.m. German time. The product, if you've not seen the WXW products before, it's a really, really strong product. Every year, they do this incredible 16 carat tournament, which just blows everything away. And there's always some. And now they're affiliated with WWE. You do get the odd sort of NXT or NXT UK based surprise amongst that as well. And it's a really, really strong in-ring product. So 10 episodes of something very new from WXW kicking off tonight. And I, for one, am very intrigued. So Dub X Dub are back. Ring of Honor, whilst they're not back doing shows properly yet, they are going deep into the archives to keep fans entertained. If you're on the Honor Club with them, they are going to start dropping 50 50 classic wrestling matches on a Friday, and it starts this week. So if you're a member of the Honor Club, there's 50 brand new matches for you to watch that are going to be on the channel today. Some of those include the first batch of fresh 50 Fridays. This is ace. Bryan Danielson defending the Ring of Honor World title against Roderick Strong. Ha ha! Yes, please. Nigel McGuinness, when he was the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, defending against Claudio Castagnoli. McGuinness and Cesaro, anyone? Let's have a thing. There's 4-corner survival match between Mercedes Martinez, Lacey, Daisy Hayes, and Allison Danger. 4 corner posts of women's wrestling from a few years back. That's a belter. And you talk of belters. Drop today on Ring of Honor. Samoa Joe and Bryan Danielson versus Kenta and Marufuji. Aha! Shoot that into my veins. Also staying with Ring of Honor, Flip Gordon has signed a multi-year deal with the company. This comes as a bit of a surprise. Many people thought that Flip would head over to AEW to be with his Being the Elite mates, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, but no, sticking around with Marty in Ring of Honor. Flip Gordon had a cracker against Nick Aldis for the NWA title a short while back. Flip's just one of those excellent go-to performers, bags of upside with Flip Gordon. He'll do great things for many years to come in Ring of Honor. Another wrestling company continuing to mix things up during this weird pandemic-y time is the National Wrestling Alliance. They started a brand new series called Carnyland the other week. It's a whole series of skits and bits and segments featuring stars of the NWA and a few extra random cameos as well. Wink. They have trademarked the phrase Carnyland now, which suggests to me that NWA have plans to do more with this, possibly even after the pandemic. It's a very unique way of keeping the NWA stuff ticking over, which isn't just doing shows in empty arenas. Carnyland is quite a psychedelic watch. I'd encourage you to check it out if you haven't done so already. They're dropping loads of unique shows on NWA's YouTube channel right now, including the Eli Drake show, which is just Eli Drake shooting the breeze for about an hour each time, and Inside the NWA, which is chats, like candid chats with guys from inside the NWA. Eddie Kingston's on the latest one, and Kingston's got some stories. The artist formerly known as Sarah Logan in the news right now. We last saw Sarah Logan getting her arm all mangled by Shayna Baszler. I think she's training for some Rwenge, as Sarah Logan has begun her mixed martial arts training, we understand. Dave Meltzer reports this in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, saying that Sarah Dobson-Rowe is training to do an MMA fight. She's also doing wrestling training with her husband, who wrestled in college. Of course, we know who the husband is, don't we? Also unrelated, they bought 50 acres of land and they're planting food to make themselves self-sufficient. So I'm expecting a sort of YouTube reality series starring the Rose very soon, akin to Ronda Rousey at home. Do you know what? I feel really bad for anybody that might try and steal carrots from Sarah Logan's farm. You should put them in a flipping armbar, wouldn't she? It's terrifying. And Bobby Lashley, but not Bobby Lashley. Ric Flair in the news the last week. He signed himself a brand spanking new deal with WWE, which means he's going to be sticking around for a long, long time as an ambassador and numerous other roles as well. Spoke recently about his new role in an interview with Wrestling Inc. And he also talked about why we will never see him in All Elite Wrestling. When his contract was coming up, there was talk of, is he going to go to AEW? Apparently, Rick says that'll never happen, and here is why. To quote Ric Flair, I'm obviously never going to go anywhere else. Tony Khan has told me when I've seen him that he wouldn't even ask me to come to work there because he knows how tight I am with WWE. Our friendship is one thing, but he respects my loyalty to the company. We make a joke about it now. He said, I won't even ask you. That's how much respect he has for me and my relationship with the company, which speaks volumes to what kind of guy Tony is. So Flair and Tony Khan are indeed tight, but not tight enough for Tony Khan to bring Ric Flair over to All Elite Wrestling. So expect Ric Flair to stick around in WWE pretty much for as long as he's doing wrestling. He will be in WWE. I can't imagine him doing anything less than that now. That's got to be the case. So that'll do it from me for today. Jack is along later on with some more wrestling news and the wrestlers of the week as well. I'm off for a couple of days now. You'll probably see me near the end of next week. And there'll be people about to type, "Way, thank goodness you're on all the time," and that's fine. That's fine. But cyberbullying's been something that's been in the news a lot lately, and I'm pretty thick-skinned, and I can take stuff like that to the extent. I can also give as good as I get in comment sections. But one day you'll type something like that to somebody, and it won't be the case. What lasts half a second of typing for you sits in somebody's brain for weeks, maybe months. So, maybe be a bit nicer. There's a wild idea. Feedback is great. Honest critique is great. I love that sort of stuff. But just don't be a dick for the sake of being a dick. It's really not worth it, and it's very tiring carrying all that negativity around. Thank you, though, for all the nice things that you've said. But how's about we try and be a bit nicer to everybody? Just a wild idea. The world's broken enough as it is. Let's all be a bit nicer, shall we? Have yourself an amazing weekend. Stay safe. Love you, bye.